Hi, I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the Expert Plumber, coming to you on YouTube Live. Happy Monday. Man, I looked down. We have the amazing Juliet Miranda in the house. I think that is fantastic. I'm going to tweak something down. It looks like I'm peeking there just a little bit. How's everybody doing today? Happy Monday. Hope things are going well. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the Expert Plumber, and we are going to have fun tonight. Man, look here. Police Lives Matter. First one in the house. You got to love it. Small Town Fisherman. Good to see you. Jack's Plumbing. Back in the house. Jack's Plumbing and Videos. Good to have you here, sir. How's everybody doing? Did you have a good weekend? Things are going crazy here in Dallas. Not crazy in a bad way. Just things are starting to open back up. Of course, we're starting to get more cases reported now. And I saw that Juliet Miranda's in here. Juliet, if you are going live tonight, do me a favor. Let everybody know in there. I see we have construction cronies in the house. Great people as always. What's up, brother? Good to see you in here. Let me see. Man, it's already jumped on me. Wow, that was quick. HVAC with Greg is in the house. Liking this. Won't make it. You know what? Man, you got to do what you got to do. I get it. Thought of investigating from Beaver State, Oregon. Man, that's a long ways from Dallas, Texas. Good to have you in here. I appreciate you being here. Valentine Sanchez. I am moving to New York and wanted to get into plumbing to become a journeyman plumber. I took a 100-hour technician course. You know anything about their licensing? You know what? Actually, I don't in North Carolina, but I know people that do. Contact the state of North Carolina licensing department. And that may not be what it's called, but find out who's in charge of licensing there. They can get you the information you need and good stuff. Carson Joseph says, I'm working right now and I want to go home. Bye. Have a good night, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Got Ryan Betterly. Welcome from Missouri, or hello from Missouri. Good to have you in here. Construction cronies, absolutely. Roger will catch replay as you're playing babysitter. Man, you know what? It's neat. I like saying that because I actually had my granddaughters over at the house this weekend for Father's Day, which was good. So pretty cool. Got to spend time with my son, my granddaughters, my grandson. Man, it was pretty cool. Had fun. Man, you got to love that. Adrian Mizolis, how are you doing today? Says doing some new construction plumbing here in El Paso, Texas. You got to love it. 106 degrees hot. Is that Mizolis or Miskels? I'm sorry about that. Miss Juliet Miranda. Good evening, y'all. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you in here. And if, like I said, if you're live tonight, let me know. John Darden says, good evening. Looking forward to the show. Man, we always are. I tell you what, I get excited all weekend long about this. This is fantastic. Adrian says, hello to Miss Juliet. Absolutely. Hello to King Lothar and Adrian again. How are you? Small Town Fisherman's back? Absolutely. Let's do this. You know, I get excited about this because this is fun. And Juliet, tell me if you're the same way. I mean, I look forward to this. And I mean, I start getting pumped about it. And of course, I'm running a plumbing company. Not as much because I've got guys that do a ton of it, which is great. But the good thing is, man, they take care of things. It's really good. But I still, come after lunchtime, I start getting my groove on. I start getting ready like, okay, we're going live tonight and we're going to have fun. So hello to Miss Juliet Miranda. Great seeing you in here. Great weekend, just making dinner. Good for you. Small Town Fisherman. I love that. Weather in Texas is hot. It's not horribly bad. We hadn't started getting up into the hundreds yet, but we're bumping around 90. Good thing is, and I say bumping around 90, we've been up to like 98. The good thing is, or bad thing is, I guess, it rained this morning. It rained overnight, so it's really humid here today. Kind of tough. The boss lady, my Julie, says, hello, everyone, and hope you all had a great weekend. Isaac Acosta, how we doing? Miss Julia, it's always a pleasure to see you in here. I hope you know that. I love watching your show. Love jumping in when I can and saying hi. And normally by that point in the evening, I'm at home. I'm starting to chill, but love to listen. Man, you want to talk about bourbon and whiskey and good stuff. And it's funny because I thought about you Saturday night, drank some Pappy Van Winkle. I've actually got a bottle, so pretty cool. John Darden, glad you're here, brother. Blaise Murray, starting my apprentice next week in the DFW area. Good for you. During your interview, you mentioned the UPC and IPC for study purposes. They said trash the UPC and only study the IPC. Do I agree with them? I don't. I know what Dallas builds by, and I know that. But I'm telling you, I like the UPC. I like the study information that they have. And there's so much crossover between the two trades or between the two codes that it's not going to hurt you to know both. The good thing is a lot of the old inspectors, and they were under UPC for years. So if you go by the UPC, most of them aren't going to bother you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't look at the IPC and don't build by it, but I think there's a lot of when it comes to studying basic plumbing, man, I love the UPC code. Monica Lamb says, Houston, plumbing and gas in the house. So I like this. Monica, tell me something. Do y'all do slab leaks and leak detection? I actually reached out to a group that I'm in today because I got people calling me from Austin, San Antonio, and Houston today about slab leaks. It's time to branch out. No Bad Mojo 70 says, happy belated Father's Day. Absolutely. All the fathers in here. Man, happy Father's Day to y'all. It's a neat day. So I love that. And I actually saw a neat post the other day, and it was really cool. And it was yesterday. But it was this lady that, look up to, respect, doing great things. And she talked about how her father used to literally, he said every week, he'd say, okay, tell me how you failed this week. And he would absolutely, be so proud of them for failing and teach them, look, it's okay to fail, and celebrate it. Congratulations, you failed. It's okay, you tried. And I mean, like high five, fist bump, hugs, the whole 9 yards. And I thought that was so cool because what it did is it actually gave these people, these children, the power to understand, look, it's good to fail because you learn from it. And I know so many people that are afraid to fail, so they won't try anything. So, man, that was one of the neatest things that I saw this Father's Day. It was an amazing story. And this lady was literally like, look, I am so happy that my dad taught us that it's okay to fail and made a big deal about it. Look, we will celebrate those failures because those failures are going to lead to success. And I'm telling you, this is one of the most successful women out there. So it was really pretty cool. So Juliet, are you actually full-time in New Orleans now? Because I love it down there. I got to tell you, Drago's is one of my favorite restaurants in the world. So I love it. Harry O'Toole says, tips on what a person should know before they start an apprenticeship. And that's really a good deal. It's a good question. And I like that because we put together the mini course. So if you're not familiar in here, go check out my mini course. It's in one of the videos that I've got. Plumbing School Has Started, something like that. But it talks to you about plumbing. When I got into plumbing, I knew I was going to be a plumber. That was it. I didn't know about commercial and residential, service, new construction, union, non-union. There were so many things I did not know about, but I learned. And that's what that little mini course is. It's literally some of my knowledge over the last 40 years to tell you or ask you, help you figure out what kind of plumber do you want to be? And maybe if you can figure it out now, because I know a lot of people that got into plumbing and quit, but to be honest, I think they were just in the wrong kind of plumbing. I think had they studied some different things, it would have been a big deal different. Howdy from South Dakota. I got some experience with those red and blue pipes that you run through the ceilings, and I must say that it was a pain. Man, some of them are. It is what it is. And Juliet, I love that. Juliet says, look, I love doing lives. And it is. It's fantastic. It starts out with, hi, y'all. I love that. Valentin Sanchez, thank you for your videos. They really make me want to become a plumber. I love that. I love the fact that people do watch my videos and then they decide, hey, I think I may want to get into the trades. And to me, that's pretty cool because I've had a lot of people reach out and say, look, I was in college and I hated it. Or I got out of college and I had another career and I hated my life because of what I was doing. And I had somebody in here, I believe it was last week, said, look, I started watching you a year ago. I got into plumbing. I've just finished my first year apprenticeship and I am so happy. And man, I just thought that was so cool. So pretty neat. Julie Wakefield, we're taking post-COVID reservations. You gotta love it. What is the difference between PEX 1 and 2, like PEX A, PEX B? Actually, there's PEX A, PEX B, PEX C. A is expandable, B is not. B is for crimping only. So if that's what you're talking about, got it. Jonathan Palomino, how are we doing tonight? Hey, I'm from Maryland. I was wondering if I want to get in the plumbing business, what do I have to study first before becoming an apprentice? And Jonathan, I'll tell you, number one, you're in a great spot. We literally, we teach people plumbing and we do it through our free mini course. We've got a plumbing course. We're actually putting videos in the plumbing course every week. And we want to teach people how to do it. And the very basic course, and that's the cheapest one that we've got. But I mean, it's literally the basics. Water pipe, what's the fittings? How do you clean it? How do you solder? How do you make a glue joint? How do you use a tape measure? What tools do you need to start? So there's lots of different places to start. That's a good one. If you're in Maryland, I know that the union is out there, the United Association. You can go talk to them about joining up in a local out there. Or if you don't want to, you can go to an open shop and see about getting a job. Check with Maryland and see what their laws and requirements are. Some states are getting where literally you've got to be in a Department of Labor training program in order to get your apprentice hours. So check and see what it is you're trying to do out there and see if it's allowed. Peter Visa's plumbing question. How many unions are permitted for trap primers? I could not find any information in the UPC. I don't know that it literally tells you how many unions you can use. I know it talks about a stop, a ball valve to where you can turn it on and off, or where you can and can't. That way you can't. And the reason you don't want that is so you can't just shut it off. I know that they're threaded. So I want to, man, I don't even know what it says. I'm gonna have to check on that one. That's a good one. I want to make sure that I remember to come back to that. I like that. What's your opinion on drain bladders for pipe unclogging? I got to tell you, and King Lawler, this is a good one because I went to a job one day and kept running a sewer machine through it, and the water would go down a little bit, but it would never unstop. And I got frustrated, and I'm done, and I'm loading up my stuff, and I saw I had a 3-4 ball in there, 3-4 bladder. And literally I thought, you know what, man, I'm going to try it. And I went over there and I shoved it down. They had two-way cleanouts. The blockage was towards the street. So I actually shoved the bladder down in the one closest to the house. So it'd go towards the street. And I got to tell you, that puppy came undone. It blew out. It cleaned it out. Ran a camera down it. There was nothing there. It was a big soft stoppage. All that it was. And I'm telling you, I'm so glad that I had it with me. So I don't have anything wrong with it. And like I said, I ran a camera down it later, so I know that it worked, and I know it worked well. Yeah, I'm ready to get. Matter of fact, Juliet, you mentioned that. Julie and I are actually wanting to come down to either New Orleans or Baton Rouge. The Longhorns are coming down there to play the Tigers, and we want to go. So, yeah, we may be down there here in just a couple of months, 3 months. Looking forward to it. Monica Lamb, yes, we certainly do. Thought of investing. I live near Portland, Oregon, and I'm applying for 2 non-union programs, going for service residential. But if I don't get in, I'm going to join the military and come back after my service. Any advice? Man, lots of advice. Number one, if you're wanting to do residential plumbing and you're up there, and you're in Oregon, so I don't know the licensing. I know what Washington State just implemented. 2 non-union programs. Look, you should be able to get in, especially if you're looking non-union. There should be a lot of other places you can look. If you go into the military with a plumbing license, I believe you automatically go in as an officer. So might be something to think about. Morning neurosis. You got to love it. Full-time, man, looking forward to it. Man, look, and I got 2 people in here I want to tell y'all right now. if you have not subscribed to Construction Cronies, go check out Chris. If you have not subscribed to Juliet Miranda, man, if you like bourbon or whiskey, God, you almost have to. You'll love her live. And Juliet, are you going live tonight? I'm just asking to make sure. But man, if you have not subscribed to these two, there's a lot of other people that jump in here a lot of times that are other good ones. Paul Peck Drywall Tube. Urban. Neil C. I know his name. Anyway, he'll be in here in a little bit, I know. Townsend Moore, what's up? Crystal, tell me what the Urban Explorer. God, I was like, wait, my mind went blank. Townsend Moore says, what's up, Roger? Hope all is well. Anyone else installing attic water heaters? What a pain in the hottest month. Brother, it is rough. Omar Metal, live streaming. And look, I love it. And both these people live stream, so subscribing to their channels is great. Ring the bell. That way when people jump in, you get to see them. Or when they go live, you get to see it. You get the notification. Jump in there because these are some great people. But Paul Peck, the Urban Explorer, a lot of great people that jump in here, guys. So, man, follow them, learn from them. One day you may want to do YouTube, and this is a great way to do it. Local 78 in the house. Why would gray water from a garbage disposal go into the dishwasher? Well, because once you put food in it, I believe it's not gray water anymore because you never know what gets dumped down the disposal. Could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. And it shouldn't. Okay, wait. Why would it go from there into the dishwasher? Because there's not a vacuum breaker or there's not a high point loop. Sorry, I read that question completely wrong. That's what the vacuum breaker for is, to keep food particles from getting back into the dishwasher and contaminating that. Triscuits says, happy Father's Day, Roger. Been on finish the last few weeks and you hate brass fittings. Owner didn't want us to install new brass drop ears and we cracked 2 of them today. Water all behind the wall. Man, that's a tough one. You know, I don't know. I hate it when owners say it's all about saving money. We want to save 10 cents per fitting, so we're going to do it this way. Man, I just look at things completely different. So it's kind of tough, but at the end of the day, it's their company and they get it done their way. So it is what it is. Sam Ham says, do states have reciprocity on master plumber's license? Could I get my license in New York City and then move to Hawaii and be a MLP there? What about Texas? Is it state by state? Yes, it is. And thanks. I'll tell you what, we love our videos and we love the time that we put into them and the research. And that's what I've had people ask me about to explain the Texas license. So guys, if y'all hadn't checked it out, go check it out. Julie, did not say LSU? I just saw that. Did I say New Orleans or something? Yeah, I know it's LSU. So anyway, look, man, we had fun doing that one. I've had a lot of people ask me about it. So appreciate it. And Miss Amber Mendoza says, sanitation all day long at Texas Green. Absolutely. Love that we're doing our part. Thank you, Roger and Julie, for caring. You know what, man, we love our people. We love our team, but our customers, we got to try to take care of them as good or better than anybody else. So thank you, Amber. Townsend, you're right, man. Those bladders work. They work. Blaise Murray says, I watch my plumbers on YouTube. I watch many plumbers on YouTube, but Roger's attention to detail is second to none. We need more plumbers who take pride in their work and do the little things right. Man, I love that because I tell you what, we do try to spend time to make sure we do things right. And we had this meeting with our plumbers this morning. It's like, look, we want to be the plumbing company. We don't take shortcuts. We don't do this. We don't do that. We want to try to always do things right. So I appreciate that. Julie, I'm assuming I said something wrong. Jonathan Palomino says, do you know any links to online schools for plumbing? If Will's in here, Will can drop a link to the one that we've got. It's an introductory. Look, this is the very basics, but to me, I think if you learn the basics well and you move on from there, it's always going to make you a better plumber. We're going to be doing advanced and really advanced later, but this is where we're starting out at. And like I said, right now we've got here the last few weeks, we're putting up a video a week. We'd got behind for a while. We got busy working on YouTube and other things. But man, I got to tell y'all, there's cool things coming up. Hopefully, man, hopefully by next Monday, I can tell y'all about a couple of really big deals going on that, man, to me are going to be amazing. Christian Sabarutz, man, I hope I've got this right one way or the other, but thank you, sir. I didn't know I wanted to be a plumber. I started writing as a helper and learning from a master plumber, working 12 hours a day. Honestly, a lot of hard work, but I love it all, residential and commercial. And good for you, Christian. I love that. Look, man, I got into plumbing thinking, okay, this is going to be something I'm going to try for a little while. I really thought, maybe one day I'll move on and get a smart job or something. I'm not very smart, though, so I didn't know why I thought that. But at the end of the day, man, I did. I loved it. So I like that. Small Town Fisherman says, Roger, can you react to some more Drain Addict videos on YouTube? Man, I got to tell you, and look, I enjoyed that because, look, I love what this guy's doing. I've actually looked at the equipment that he's using. You buy it over in Australia. I've looked at that. I've actually looked over here at Rigid. They've got some really good equipment. Man, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but we're wanting to do videos kind of like that, maybe a little bit different. But look, man, it's a cool concept, and I truthfully think, we were talking about sticking a bladder in there a while ago. I really love the idea of a hydro jetter and getting it in and doing things with that. And I got to tell you, man, those are some great videos. That guy's good at what he does. He does a lot of things right. I love his attitude about everything. He's like, look, man, just get in here and get it done. And man, I think he's doing the right kind of work. So, man, my hat's off to him. But yeah, we need to do another video. That was pretty good. Doug Smith says, thought of investing. I spent 7 years in the Army and using the college benefits to get technical school, 100% tuition. Just FYI, when you get out. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. I needed a sip. Good old iced tea. Y'all go check out Miranda later, see what she's drinking. I can't believe, Miranda, you didn't even make a comment about my Pappy Van Winkle, but you may have had to jump. I get it. Here's the deal, too, about getting in the Army. When you get out and you've got to go through the apprentice training program afterwards, they help pay for that. I've had a couple of different apprentices that were getting GI Bill funds to help supplement them while they were an apprentice and learning. And, man, I'll tell you what, pretty cool. Triscuits says local 582. Triscuits, where is 582? Just curious. I know where some of them are, man. I do not know. That's one thing I started to do. I started to get a wall map in here because I've got a lot of pins from going to the instructor training program. And I've literally wanted to put up a wall map and put pins all over it because I'm telling you, man, those Union pins are freaking pretty cool. I love them. Sam. Man. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Sam. And Miranda, if you're in here, please feel free to comment. My number one bottle, if I've only got one to ever drink, man, I got to tell you that Pappy Van Winkle is one of the smoothest I've ever had in my life. But for an everyday drinker, or one that you can drink any day of the week, and I love Jack Daniels. And I'd actually told Miranda to try, or Juliet Miranda to try Jack and Pepsi with a lime. And I do extra limes. So like I will do 4 ounces of Jack, 8 ounces of Pepsi, and 2 limes. Because I use 1 lime for every 2 ounces. And man, I got to tell you, I don't know that you can get any better than that. Good stuff. Doug Smith says technical school is also counted to your apprenticeship time. Yes, it is. And man, that's a big deal because there can be, the union is 6 hours a semester at 16 nights. So man, that adds up quick. 96 hours? Man, that's an extra 200 hours a year. So man, it can cut time off your entire duration. King Lawler, what's your biggest plumbing mistake you've done when you were working in the field ever? Man, you're going to call me out, ain't you? My biggest mistake was probably when I was first starting out, laying out off columns. I laid out off the wrong columns and had actually laid out an entire bathroom in the wrong spot. Now, luckily, we didn't start drilling, didn't put holes in the floor or anything like that, and I've seen it done. I've also, man, I've seen a lot of things, but that's probably the biggest one I made. That and actually, there's probably a couple of more. Nothing real serious though, but I remember the very first time I soldered, telling people, "Oh yeah, man, I can do that. I've watched plumbers do it." Man, cold soldered, probably 50 tub and shower valves, and probably 50 of them leak. So that was a bad one. One of the funnest things is first time somebody told me to run a TMP line. Literally, it was run it back in the wall, run it down, and run it out the side of the apartment building. And I think I must use 65 90s, going through there and getting it out. So, man, but nobody ever told me that. Just like, hey, run the TMP from here to here to here, stub it out at this height. It's like, okay, man, that was not a good one. Bob Y, gas fitter out of Missouri. Roger, you are absolutely correct. We learn from our failures than we do from our success. The main thing is that we learn. Bob, and I love that. And I got to tell you, look, I failed a lot. Luckily, for the other question, most of them weren't big, huge failures. But I was smart enough to watch other plumbers and think, man, I do not want to do that. Giving people permission to fail. I've told my guys, look, y'all are going to make mistakes. I understand it happens. The thing is, let's learn from it the first time and not do it again. That way it doesn't just cost us so much it puts us out of business. So my thing is, look, I want to do well. I want to do well for our customers. But man, at the end of the day, look, everybody makes a mistake. And I'm good with that as long as we can learn from it, as long as you don't try and hide it, you bring it up, you mention it. And I got to tell you, man, I've got some amazing apprentices and plumbers right now. And I had an apprentice call me, it's about a month ago. He calls and he's like, and they know I'm doing a lot on social media and they know I'm busy. And they call and they say, hey, do you have just a minute to talk? And I'm like, absolutely. So anyway, I get a phone call and he says, Roger, he says, I got to tell you, he says, I cut the camera. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, well, he says, I actually ran the camera head in. I did a locate, found out where it was, dug it up to make the repair, started cutting it. He says, and all of a sudden it won't cut anymore. He says, then I realized, oh my God, I'm cutting through the camera. He had cut right through the metal spring, but didn't cut all the way. Got to it and it locked up and galled up on him. But I'm telling you, it was, it's an expensive lesson. But, he kept playing. He says, look, I'll pay for it. I'll do this. I'm like, look, man, I'm not worried about it. Everything's good. We all learn. Will you ever make that mistake again? He starts laughing. He says, oh, God, no. He said, this scared the heck out of me. And it's like, look, man, I understand mistakes happen. So, man, look, at the end of the day, we're all going to get over it, but it's a great thing. So, Small Town Fisherman says, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Danny Keene says, howdy. How are you, sir? Good to have you in here. Wacky Fours, Roger Wakefield. How do I increase my chances of securing a plumbing contract I don't want to sell? And this is really a good one because the truth is, I think as plumbers, we don't sell. I think that we provide people options and we provide them the best options available. We've got to give them an easy way out. Hey, look, this is the Band-Aid fix. This is the right way to do it. And if this was my house and I wanted to do it right where I'd never have a problem again, this is the way I'd do it. And I think if you learn to teach people that or convey that information to your customers, man, I think it's great. And I think that's a good way to do it. I don't want to sell my work for cheap. You know what? And that's one thing I'll tell you. You don't ever want to be the cheapest plumber out there. Chances are they're just waiting to go out of business. They just hadn't figured out a way to do it yet. You actually want to try to always be the very best plumber you can be. You want to sell that value to your customers. And, and it's funny because we had this conversation this morning because I've got a couple of people that work for me. They're like, look, one day I want to own my own company. And I think that's great. I think you have to learn a lot of things. Look, I'm still learning a lot of things, But the neat thing about it is, don't just call around and find out what other plumbing companies are charging and set your price based on that. You've got to know what it costs you. You've got to, and I used to have a great guy out of Chicago that I respected the heck out of, Robert Melko, and he called it PYS, prove your shit. And man, if you can prove it, you're either making money or you're losing money. And it's really funny because the day he taught that, he said, look, most companies wait till the December 31st to tell you whether they made money or not. He said, you should be able to look at your numbers every day, every week, every month, and know if you're making money. And to me, that's the best way to do it. Doug Smith says, also, plumbing license won't make you an officer. Okay. You need a full 4-year degree to do that. Okay. Doug, back when I was getting into, when I graduated high school, a buddy of mine was thinking about going into the military, and his dad, who was a chief plumbing inspector in Dallas, told us that he thought that was the deal. So if it's not, that's cool. I thought it was once you're licensed or something like that. At least that's what it was told to us. So we have Mr. Adam Stockton in here. Brother, how you doing? I hope things are going well. First-time caller, long-time listener. Anyways, great info, and the mustache is always on point. Brother, man, we keep working it. It is what it is, but I appreciate you jumping in here. Isaac Acosta says, fellow Texan here, do you think plumbing wages will go up in the next 5 years? I live in West Texas. You know what? And man, that's a great question, Isaac, because I literally, up until COVID, up until March, I was telling people I think plumbers will be making $100 an hour on their check within 5 years. And the reason being, less people are getting into plumbing, more people are retiring. Right now, for every 5 plumbers that retire, 1 gets into the trade. So guys, if y'all are young and you're thinking about it, supply and demand just jumped up and bit you on the tail end, because here's what's going to happen. 5 years from now, when all these old plumbers are finally retiring, which I'm right around there. So, hey, 5 years from now, I'm 61. I don't want to be doing this all the time. So my thing is, I'm going to be looking for people to replace me. Luckily for us, we've got a good training program. We're bringing in some good apprentices, and things are looking good there. So yes, I truthfully think they're going to go way up. That's why I tell people, if you're not in the trades now, you need to hurry. Danny Kane, what is my favorite gun? Man, I like all kinds of guns. I've got a Smith & Wesson Model 29. I've got a Glock 40 cal. I've got SIG AR-15. Man, I got all kinds of stuff. I love my guns. Love to play. Adam back in there. I love that. Good to see you. John Cervantes. Finally got the Union Apprenticeship Program interview. Hoping for a call this week. Thanks for introducing me to the trades over at college. John, which one did you apply to? I don't remember. I think we've talked about it before, but where'd you apply? Where'd you go through the interview? And how was the interview process? Have you gone through the interview finally got the Union Apprentice Program interview. So have you been interviewed yet, or you got it lined up? Just curious. Sam Ham says, can you do a video? And I hear that a lot. I like it though. Can you do a video teaching plumbing things in movies? Reacting to plumbing things in movies. Like Home Alone, when they flood the house, they rob. I don't think it would flood like they show in the video or in the movie. And that's a good one, Sam, because you're right. It won't flood that way. One of my favorites is one because I used to also do fire protection systems. And, somebody holds a match up or a lighter up to the sprinkler head, and all of a sudden the whole building, the sprinkler's going off. Well, it don't work that way. But yeah, that's one me and Will need to work on it. I looked up at John Darden here. Will and I need to work on that. So that's one that we'll work on. That's a good one. I like that. 2 questions I'm interested in are, from my perspective, how can you emphasize on vacuum breakers on a pool, or how do you become a master plumber through experience as a helper? How can you emphasize vacuum breakers on a pool? It's hard to emphasize it because I see the fill valves that go underneath all the time. I'll tell you what, I have seen when they use a fill valve out of a toilet as the on-off control for a water supply line. I would think an isolation line, just have a regular, an atmospheric vacuum breaker is a great thing to do on a swimming pool. Another one, it's going to take more than just your experience as a helper. And I say that because you've got to have 4 years apprenticeship. You've got to have another year as a journeyman before you can even take your master if you went through a Department of Labor training program. If you don't, you've got to wait 4 years as a journeyman to get your master's. So it's not going to be just your experience as a helper. It's going to be being a helper, being a journeyman, and then passing the master exam. Eric Tamlin says, pumping water 3/4 of a mile to our house through 1-inch black well pipe after the pump comes up to pressure and shuts off, still get a gurgle sound like water sucking back in the well. Is there a backflow device on it? Is there a check valve to keep the water from coming back down? Because it very well could be. Or even if there is a check valve, have you checked it? Have you cleaned it? It could be letting it back. So it's pumping all that water off, but when it doesn't have the need for it, it sucks it back down and just kind of gurgles back down past it. So that's what I would say. Pump still holds pressure at 40 pounds. Your pump should always hold that pressure. If it doesn't hold the pressure, it goes down to zero. All that water from there up is going to suck back down. And I know that because of one I go work on quite often out in Lindale, Texas. 582s out of Orange County. Triscuits, thank you so much. Vish Palai, hope I got that right. Your videos are just awesome. You're a good teacher who makes everything too simple. Want to see a video of how a dual flush tank mechanism. You know what? Man, that's a good one. I like that. I'm glad that you did that because I've actually got. Now, when you say a dual flush like up and down. Okay, that's an easy one. I've got an American Standard Advanaclean or Acticlean, so it's got 2 flappers in it because it's got 2 water ports. So, man, those are a couple of good ones, man. I like that. I might have to go back through this video and watch this and write down all these great ideas. Thomas Curl, do you plan to have guest interviews like you did a few months ago? Absolutely. I've actually reached out to a few plumbers around here that are doing some good things on social media. Some that are doing different things in other places. I've actually, I'll give you all the heads up. So y'all are going to be the first ones getting the information. I'm working on a magazine right now, working on a podcast right now. There's all kinds of cool things, but man, I want to help people in the trades, help people get in the trades. But by bringing in other people, it's not just me, it's not just my ideas, but by bringing in other people, you get to listen to and hear from people across the country that are in the trades that are doing really well, that have done well. I've got so many things going on that I want to get other people involved. And to me, it was just a great way to do it. So how hard is it to get a drain and sewage license? In Texas, it's not very hard. You've got to have a certain number of hours. You've got to apply, take a questionnaire on the thing, pay some money. It's not very hard to do. But you still have to work under a responsible master plumber. So Danny King says, you're a great boss. There's a whole lot of people out there that will disagree with you about that because, man, I want everything done right every day. Like I said, look, it's okay to fail, but don't get me wrong, we still have to do what we know to do right. And that's where I have problems is, look, I know what people are capable of, and I know when they know right from wrong, but I also know when people are just like, man, look, I'm just not going to do that today. And that's when I'm not a great boss. Christian Sabaritz, man, I hope I'm getting your name right. How do you feel about using CPVC? And I got to tell you, I don't have any problem with CPVC. I don't use it a lot. In Texas, we can use it on the TMP line on a water heater. Out in a lot of municipalities or out in the country, smaller rural municipalities, I've seen it used for water. I've seen it used for a lot of things. Here in Dallas, down in the city, even Richardson, Plano, up where I'm at, don't use a lot of it except for the TMP on the water heater, and that's about it. Vish Pillai. Best way to solve clogged bathroom wash basin. Which product do you suggest us buying? It depends on where it is. If it's in the P-trap, I love taking them completely apart, cleaning them out. Another one of my mistakes. I remember one of the first times I took one apart, cleaned it out, had it in a bucket, reached up top, turned on the water, and I'm rinsing it out and just flooding the bottom of the cabinet. Didn't really flood it because I had my bucket and tools and stuff down there, but it's completely slipped my mind. Number one, I don't like any liquid products. I don't like liquid drain cleaners, but I've even liked those little plastic things, the nylon things you stick in that have the teeth on it and you pull back up and it grabs the hair. Those are actually pretty cool. So man, there's a lot of things out there that a lot of different people use. Those are just the ones that I've been using. I kind of like them. Now, here's a good one. Best plumbing boots that are not steel toe. I got to tell you, I'm not real happy with my boot people right now because I wear Red Wing boots, and man, the boots that I make or that I wear, they quit making. And the bad thing is, these are what they had always called, this is their Cadillac. These are the best boots they make. These are the man, and they quit. I mean, that would be like Chevrolet saying, well, you know what? We ain't making the Chevy truck anymore. It would be like, what is wrong with you? And look, I love Red Wing boots. My dad wore them when I was a kid. Some of my very first boots were boots that I got from him, hand downs. But man, I mean, I've got 2 pair of these Red Wings. I oil them, I clean them. I've had them resoled. One of them is starting to get holes out on the little toe. But I mean, I've had each one of these pair of boots probably 10, 12 years. I don't know what else to go to. I've reached out to some other boot manufacturers and told them, look, I would really like to try a pair of boots that y'all think are the best ones that you've got, because I'm on my feet a lot. I believe in comfort and doing things. Man, you got to take care of your feet. They support us all day long. So that's just something I've been looking at is what's next. But I got to tell you, I've been wearing Red Wing for years. I've looked at some of the new ones and I really don't see any that I think are going to be this comfortable. And man, to me, it's all about comfort. John Cervantes. I have already attended the interview. You're applying for the apprenticeship, North Carolina. There you go. Turned 20 this month and looking to start a career in a trade soon. John, you know what? And look, I love that. And here's why. Is you're turning 20. And look, I did not get into the union till 97. In 97, man, I was 34 years old. So you're 14 years ahead of me. I've got in 25, almost 30 years, somewhere around in there. And I say that because I worked a lot of overtime and you get more credit hours for the years that you work over 2,100 hours, I believe. But the cool thing about it is at 20, you could literally get in and retire with almost a full pension in like 30 years. So at the age of 50, you could be like, dude, I am done. And if you work overtime, you could even cut it down shorter than that. So man, I'm telling you, congratulations. Good for you. I hope it works out. I hope you do well, but man, I hope you learn and do good things along the way. Ben Weaver says, I have my interview on Saturday for the Broward County Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, JATC. Any advice? You know, and I get asked this one a lot, so I like this. If you'll go through and look at the interviews or the videos that I've done on applying for a job, because a lot of that is the interview process. And I've actually done one recently about the interview and how to ace it. And I'm telling you, if you'll go watch those, man, you can learn a lot, because it's not just about them asking you questions to find out if you'll fit. It's about you asking them questions to find out if they're a fit for you. But man, I've got some good videos out there, man. Go check them out, Ben. I'm telling you, I think that you will do good. So Blaise Murray says, when you visit a plumbing trade show, you soon realize the future of plumbing will be green. You know what? I like that you put that because number one, I'm a lead AP. I used to be involved with Green Plumbers USA. In Texas, I'm licensed to do rainwater harvesting. I completely agree. That's why we named our company Texas Green Plumbing. Big deal to me. Start small to success. Says, when is the entire course coming out? I want to learn how to read a house plan or drawing and how to read my code. Can you teach a course from underground to finish? You know, I probably can. That'll probably be part of one of the advanced courses because most apprentices don't need to know how to read blueprints. That there's a lot of things that they don't need there. And right now, I really want to help people that want to get into the trades. I've got a plan for like a 3-year training program that I'm trying to put together. So I'm really wanting to help, but that's one that believe it or not, you were probably the first or second one that it's talked to me about plan drawing or rough to top out or rough to fixtures. And the neat thing about it is, you know, I used to teach blueprint reading and drawing in the union, so I get it. I was also self-taught on blueprints because the plumber that I worked with, he did not want anybody, and I mean anybody, standing next to him, looking at his prints, double checking him, questioning him, anything at all like that. And man, it's kind of tough. But what I would do is when they would either tear the cover off or throw those prints away to get another set of prints in, an updated set, I would actually take them out of the trash, carry them home, and I would study them. That's how I learned to read blueprints anyway. So William T. Powell's in the state of Maryland. How we doing? Big Bear Plumbing is still kicking. You got to love it. Handy Kelly, how are you? Good to have you back in here. How are you? Not sure if you already made a video about this, but have you ever gotten a camera stuck in a pipe and wasn't able to pull it back out? You know what? I got to tell you, I haven't. I went to a job to look at one time and there was a camera there. And, you know, I was not sticking my hand to try to see it or find it or anything. The neat thing about it is luckily I hadn't, but having seen that, and I work with one of the coolest sewer camera repair places in the Dallas area is Site Utilities Underground or Underground Site Utilities. And I've got to tell you, man, these guys are great. But I've been out and talked to them and heard some stories about some things that people have done, and it just blows my mind. The only way that I can think of that you could get it out, and I know you're not going to like this, is cut it and then take some Uponor, a flexible pipe that you might be able to sleeve around it, depending on how far you're in. Maybe even something a little more flexible than that, like a corrugated flexible pipe or something, and push it down there. Maybe even a softer vinyl, that's something that you can push around it that maybe can get around it, not drop down in the hole and pull that head up enough you can get it back. So, and that's the only thought that I've got. Big Bear, check out White's boots. I will have to. King Lawler, how often do you see missing vent pipes in a drainage system? With that said, thoughts on air admittance valves as an alternative to having a vent pipe run up the roof? You know, and man, that's a good one, King Lawler, because here's the deal. Literally, I was around when air admittance valves first came out, and we as plumbers thought they were going to be the worst thing on earth. I've still not used a lot of them. I've heard a lot of good things about them, but you know, you never know. I've seen them fail. I've smelled them fail. I've had people say, you know, look, we can smell something. You run a camera up and you can find them. Man, there's some things to it. I say, and you know what? I haven't done a lot of testing on them. I don't mind the air admittance valve if they're not going to flood or if they're accessible. I don't mind them under a sink because if it starts leaking and you start smelling it, you change it. I don't mind them in a commercial building and a ceiling where you can get to them and change them. So there's a lot of things there, a lot to it. Alexander Helling says, is it just California that made PECs illegal a couple of years ago? I've heard that it was illegal out there. If you're out there, I'm assuming it is. It's still legal here in Texas, PECs A, B, and C. So, yeah, I don't know. Start small to success. I did plumbing for a year, but I want to take it to the next step. But I can't find a course that would teach me the code and how to go from groundwork to finish. I want the visual, not just the reading. Where are you located? Because where you're located is going to have a lot to do with it, a whole lot. Christian Saboritz, you almost got my last name right. Saboritz. Man, I knew you'd put it up there where I could get it. Saboritz, thank you so much. I use CPVC the same way, only for temperature and pressure relief valves, or if the customer is looking cost-efficient job. I warn them about it but some decide to do it. Absolutely. Adam Stockton says, I got to tell you, I'm quickly finding out just how powerful YouTube is. You've been inspiring me to start a channel myself. Any advice? And if you jump in with both feet. We have put up at least 3 videos a week, every week for the last almost 2.5 years now. And it's a science. You've got to study the platform. You have to do research. I mean, we've probably spent, I don't know, $60,000, $80,000 on equipment and software and editors and content writers and a bunch of different things. A lot of it to do myself, but man, there's still a lot to it. But it's a good thing to know. It does come in handy. Killer Rob 1998. I hope you're staying safe out there. I hear COVID cases are going up in Texas. Man, that's exactly what I've heard. I like this right here. Shafiq Rahimi says, my pre-apprenticeship classes start next July 6th. Could you help me or suggest me anything? Yeah, absolutely. I've got a link in one of my videos to the UPC study guide. I think that's huge. It'll help teach you plumbing. Also, the videos that we make, watch them, learn. Man, there's so many little tips and tricks we talk about all the time. And look, I've got people that have jumped into my videos, binge watched it over a week or two, and they're like, oh my God, you completely changed my game. And guys, if you want to be a good plumber, man, these are the things that I've learned over my career that have really helped me excel. And I love sharing them. I love teaching them. So I really hope that you get something out of it. I really do. Jack's plumbing videos. What do you think of PVC toilet flanges with the metal rings? Don't like them because they rot. I use the regular PVC ones. You know what? And I don't necessarily mind the ones with the ring because I can go in and change them. I can change that ring. And you know what? If that's the case, that's the case. PVC ones don't bother me either. So you get a plumber that over tightens them, pulls them up and breaks them, but he can do the same thing with the metal ring. Here we go. Time for me to get up on my soapbox. Bill Mazur says, could you update us on anything you've heard with the Texas license, no license situation? We're a little concerned up here in the Midwest. Man, here's the deal. And this is legit. I've been trying to talk to the governor's office. I've talked to Lisa Hill. I've talked to Brian Francis. They're the directors of the TDLR and the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. Brian's TDLR, Lisa's Texas State Board. And the governor has not appointed anybody for the board, at least not yet. We're just kind of in limbo. And I don't know if we're in limbo because of COVID. I know that probably affected it some. But, I mean, man, he had a whole year to appoint somebody and didn't. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I am involved with hashtag 71K Plum Strong. If y'all aren't on that Facebook page or in that group or anything like that, get in there. Tell Mary I sent y'all over. This is going to be big because I know that the governor wants to move us over. The governor wants us under TDLR. And he wants it because he can save money because TDLR can save him $500,000 a year. Now, here's the problem. Texas has pretty much got everything fixed and straightened up until COVID. I talked to Lisa Hill last week, and she was like, man, look, up until this came, we were really doing good. Now the governor's coming in, cutting 5 or 10% from every agency, and we were still trying to do things to make things better. And I told Lisa, I said, Lisa, look, I think if you told every plumber in Texas, hey, we're going to up your license fee 10% because we're not changing anything. Look, 10% is not going to kill anybody. And if we can keep the Texas State Board and that gives us the extra funding to do things right, that's great. But what happens then is I think Governor Abbott gets his hands on that too. So just me talking. I would love to interview him and talk to him just to find out what's going on because, man, I'm really curious about it. Really so. Hey, Raj, talked with Local Union 55 here in Ohio. Said hopefully interviews will start next month. I love it. It's time. It's ready to get things going. Shafiq Rahimi says, I'm really inspired by you, and I usually watch your video. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. DKD Da says, Flex Shaft. You know what? I haven't used it yet, but I've heard so many people talk good things about it. That's on my list to try. So, yeah, definitely going to check into that one. DJ Double M says, hey, where can I learn more about Stabil Eltron water heaters? Probably Home Depot. Isn't that the ones that they sell? I've got to tell you, I'm looking at the True Tankless, studying those. I've heard good things about them, and they've actually reached out to me, so we're kind of discussing things back and forth. So not sure yet. Alexander Helling says, people look into it. Some employers, especially unions, will offer a 10 to 20% discount for Red Wings. Check it out. Get a recraftable pair, sole stitched and glued, not just glued, former cobbler. You got to love it. Alexander, here's my problem, man. And look, like I said, I love Red Wing. Love it. I've actually reached out to them about brands and sponsorships and have heard nothing. And I hate it because, I mean, I have worn Red Wing boots for probably 45 years. God, I probably got my first pair when I was 12, 13. A pair of hand-me-downs from my dad's and loved them. The 10 to 20% discount is true. Employers, unions, Texas Instruments here, there's a lot of things. Pretty much if you'll stand there and BS with them long enough and let them know where you work, what kind of projects you work on, what companies you work for, they'll find a way to give you a discount. Look, I love Red Wing. I think they're doing great things. I think they are one of the best pair of boots out there. But, man, when you quit making your best product, I don't care what the reason, when you quit making it, man, what's wrong? That, to me, just, man, that hurts. DKD Da, PEX is not illegal in California. And see, I've heard before it is, and guys, I'm not out there, so I'm not agreeing, disagreeing, nothing. I'm just saying I heard that it was. Now you're saying it's not, so I'm not sure. Jack's Plumbing Videos, I had to use ABS pipe for a utility sink. Normally use PVC, but the way the plumbing was, you needed the bit more flex to get it in. Together, the only time I use ABS. What do you think of ABS? Man, I have never, I don't think in my entire life, used it. I had to tie on, and I bought the transition glue. I had to tie on to a piece to run a vent out of a roof because somebody else had used it. I'm sure it was a handyman, but somebody else had used it in an attic in Plano, and it blew my mind. In Massachusetts, waiting for the advanced course. Man, I don't blame you. Shafiq Rahimi says, I really appreciate you and what you're doing. Great fan too. God bless you. God bless you. I hope, and I do, I hope those of y'all that do, that come in here and spend time asking questions, checking things out, and I hope you learn something. I hope that you get something. If you hadn't taken the free mini course, go take it just to find out what kind of plumber you think you may be. God, you may be a plumber and say, look, I'm really hating this. Go take the mini course and you may think, man, I got to get out of service. I need to get into construction. So, man, check it out. Let me know what you think. Vlada One, good evening to you. Good to see you in here. I do appreciate it. DR702, what is the mindset you need to have as a plumber? What are some characteristics that you might make a good plumber? You know what? I like this. And I think that's a good way to look at it. Number one, the mindset is you always want to take care of your customer, whether you are a construction or service plumber. Now, when you're construction, it's a different customer. It's a general contractor. But you've also got a team around you. There's normally a lot of plumbers, and you want to make sure that you carry your load. You're not putting it off on somebody else. As a residential plumber, you always want to take great care of your customers, the residential homeowner. You want to take care of the apprentices that work for you. You want to teach them, educate them, and help them grow. You want to make them better people. And man, I love strong leaders. I love people with a good analytic mind. Analytical, if you're a service plumber, people that love to build or put things together are great new construction plumbers. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but I got to tell you, my mindset as a plumber is I always want to do better. I always want to get better. I always want to learn more. Look at me. 2 years ago, I knew nothing about social media. Now, man, when it comes to social media, I got it. I get it. I understand it. And now I got people reaching out around the country. Matter of fact, had a oral surgeon reach out to me today and say, look, I'm interested in learning what you're doing because I want to do that. So it's pretty cool. Jack's Plumbing Video says, I hate PEX because it makes the water taste weird, and the PEX fittings can get costly. I use copper, CPVC, and I use brass and galvanized for capping a pipe or small jobs. You know, the good thing is there's so many different things out there, and materials are always going to change. And I know that they say PEX, it's almost like off-gassing because of the chlorine in the water. I don't have any PEX in my house, so I can't tell you if it does or doesn't. I've heard that it does. I've never seen it or seen it proven, but I've never really studied it a lot, so I get it. Mr. Caleb Meacham is in the house. Good to see you here. Anemo D says, just passed the math test for the local 464 in Nebraska. Have an interview next month. Your videos will definitely give me a leg up. And if y'all would go through and watch the videos that I have about applying for a job, getting for a job, going through that interview, watch them more than once, write down questions, think about it. Put yourself in that mindset of, okay, if I walked in to interview tomorrow and stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself and you'll ask you questions. So what do you expect to get out of plumbing? And then think about it and look yourself. And man, I talk about looking them in the eye. When you shake their hand and go all the way the web, shake it the right way. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. Be polite. Dress like you want this job, meaning don't just walk in shorts, flip-flops, and a tank top. Walk in a pair of nice jeans, a tucked-in shirt, and I say that my shirt ain't tucked in. But walk in and look the part. Look like the job that you want. Look like that professional plumber. And I'm telling you, when you do things like that and introduce yourself to everybody that's interviewing you, and it may be a board, there may be 6 people, but introduce yourself to everybody. And when you're done and they ask you if you have any questions, make sure you do. One of my favorite questions is, if I do join this union or if I do join this company, what is this going to do for me in my career? How is this going to help make me a better plumber? And let them know that you do want to become a better plumber. And man, questions like that are impressive. And then when you get up to leave, shake everybody's hand and tell them thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Because I'm telling you, most people aren't doing that. What do you think about water filter versus water softener? I think 2 different things. A water softener makes the water soft, pulls out the hardness. A water filter removes chlorine, chloramine, chemicals like that. They make an anti-scaler that, which to me does the same thing as a water softener. And I say the same, it's not really. It breaks up, or it suspends the calcium and magnesium in the water so it comes out. It doesn't just stick to the inside of your water heater, dishwasher, ice maker, water filtration system, shower head, aerators. It is suspended in the water and it comes out. Good stuff. So Mr. Caleb says, question, what do you say to the customer competition that say your prices are too high? What do you and your staff offer that the bottom feeders don't? I like that. Caleb, what we do is, number one, you've always got to sell value. You've got to explain to them, look, we understand our prices are not the cheapest in town. I had a lady send me a deal the other day wanting me to compete with a handyman. He was pulling and resetting toilets for $65. I just told her I'm not even trying. Our guys are licensed, drug tested, background checked. They're doing the right thing, and it's a big deal. And we're competing against a lot of people that aren't. I literally just last week had to go look at 2 jobs that an apprentice was actually, had a receipt, phone number, everything on it except for the number of the Texas State Board, that had his name and, hey, look, I'm a plumber, happy to serve you, doing good. And it just blows my mind. We're not the cheapest guy, but we're going to do it right. We're going to be here in 3 years and 5 years. If there's ever a problem and if they want us to come back, and man, I'm working on a new plan right now, something that I want to do that I think is going to be phenomenal. And man, when we get this thing going, it's going to be cool. And these are the things that we do. We're constantly working, trying to get better. And if we train our plumbers and apprentices to do the right thing, communicate with the customers, keep them informed, I think it pays off in the long run. So Handy Kelly says, what's your go-to brand or brands when it comes to the tools you work with? I got to tell you, man, I just bought, and I'm going to show you. I don't know. Have y'all seen this tool bag yet? Because this is a video that we're fixing to start working on. Man, I ordered this, and this one here is the tech pack, and it's blacked out. But that is the Vito Pro Pack Tech Pack. And man, Will has been on me for a while to make a video about what's in my tool bag. But man, to be honest, I normally carry a bucket. But I started doing research on tool bags because I do have some tool bags. Hadn't been real happy with them. But I got to tell you, I love that bag. I ordered it. I contacted them, talked to them. They said, look, we'll send you some different ones to look at and try out and see what you think. So I'm going to give out a shout out to Vito Pro Pack. If y'all have not checked it out, do. And I'll talk with Will, and we're fixing to work on that video pretty quick because I'm telling you, man, this bag blows away anything I've seen. Now, for the tools that go in it, I use Channel Lock, Rigid, Milwaukee, DeWalt. There's a lot of different tools that I use. Klein. Oh, my gosh. There are so many good tools that I use that I love. And, man, I'm telling you, there's some good stuff out there. Adam says, my fear is that if we get moved to TDLR, the rising demand is going to go the other way very quickly. We've come too far to go backwards. And I completely agree. From talking to Brian Francis at the TDLR and Elisa Hill at the Texas State Board, I don't know that it'll go backwards very quick, but here's what I think will happen. I think if we go under TDLR, as soon as this shortage is realized, they start making it easier and easier and easier to get your plumbing license. And that right there scares the heck out of me, because that's when, just handyman are going down the line or getting a license. Now they can start doing it more and more. They still keep their handyman prices, so they're getting more work, but they end up killing people. And that's what scares me. Eldell 300C might join my pre-apprenticeship program, hopefully in August. We'll get a certification to be more eligible to join a trade school or union. And I'm trying to make this whole thing make sense. Well, getting a certification, be more eligible to join the union. I don't think that getting a certification from anywhere is gonna help you get into the union. And I don't know which union you're talking about, but here in Dallas, people go in without any experience at all. And I know because I used to be an instructor down there, so I know that being down there, we'd have people that knew nothing about plumbing. We'd have people that had 2, 3, 4 years experience at plumbing. So to get down there and see and learn and get educated that way is good. And what pre-apprenticeship training program you're talking about going to, I'm not sure. But, man, all of them aren't great. So Just got to kind of look at it that way. Shafiq Rahimi, 27-year-old, university. I was at university. Major is global politics and policy. The moment I have found you on YouTube channel and follow you, really inspired a lot. Shafiq, I love that. And I want to tell you, you might check, look, I love this. I love the fact that you've got global politics and policy. You need to check out a guy named Mark Riso, Markriso. He is a lobbyist in the United States for the trades. And he's in Washington. He's actually, I think he said he's in Annapolis. I'm getting ready to come out with a magazine. If any of y'all would like to know more about my magazine, let me know. But I'm getting ready to come out with a magazine. And we are literally really excited about it because what we're trying to do is help people that want to get into the trades, help people that want to get better at the trades, and help people that are in the trades that want to open their own company and learn to grow with social media. So, man, I've reached out to a lot of company owners nationwide, not just plumbing, but plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, irrigation, landscaping, window cleaning. I mean, our list was long. And we've reached out to a bunch of people because we want to help people. And we just found this is a great way to do it. So anyway, if you're interested in learning more about the magazine, let me know. Blaise Murray says, do most apprentices get overtime? Some do, not all. It's easier to give, for me, I own a residential service company. If I need stuff done, I would rather my apprentices come in and do it because they can make a little more money. And look, guys, starting out in the trades, it's not cheap. It's not cheap to live. So when you're only making, I think the union starts out at $16, $17 an hour right now. That's not a lot of money. And some people need more than that to live on. I get it. I got to tell y'all, when I first started plumbing, not the very first year because I was still in high school, so I didn't need much money. But after that, I mean, man, I've always had 3 or 4 jobs most of my entire life. And I've done it because I knew how much money it cost me to live. I knew how much money that I needed to buy cars, to buy trucks, to buy guns, to do the things that I want to do, to go on dates, go on vacations. So a lot of different ways to look at it, but I knew what I wanted and I was willing to work hard for it. So Shafiq says, I got study break from university, have planned to be a great plumber in the future, basically from Afghanistan, but now I'm Australian and live in Western Australia. Good for you. Are you familiar with the Facebook group Best Worst Plumbing Pictures or something like that? Fraser's a great guy. Love him down there. And if y'all don't know who that is on Facebook, jump over there and check that out. Pretty good guy. Devin says, would you fire somebody for standing around for 10 minutes? Good question. My question is, why was he standing around? Was there anything that could be done? Was there anything he could be doing? Has he been told for 9 minutes to quit standing around? Was he standing around playing on his phone while everybody else is working? There's a million things to ask there. So, man, that's a tough one to just give you an answer to. Julio says, do you do backflow tests? I used to be a certified backflow inspector. Let that license go because there's so many people that just do that charge $50, $60 a piece. They'll do 10 a day and make $500 or $600 and they're happy with it. So I let them have it. To me, it's not worth the hassle. Shafiq says, is it still a good age to start pre-apprenticeship at 27? Absolutely. If you think you're young enough and energetic enough to be a plumber, and it's a great trade, a great career, and I've seen people start at the age of 55. So absolutely. Ethan Jensen Page is in the house. How are you? Good to see you in here. Jack's Plumbing says, I use rubber black stoppers to temporarily cap off a pipe before a fix. Rubber black stoppers, okay? The rubber stoppers come in many different sizes. How do you temporarily cap a pipe to stop the methane from coming out? I use my thumb, I use a jet sweat. There's a lot of different things, but I hadn't seen the rubber black stoppers yet. That's pretty interesting though. Almost there to my journeyman, and nothing else feels better. Lots of hard work, and yes, lots of overtime. 4 years in and barely scratching the surface. Troop 210, man, I love that. It's good to see you in here, but man, I'm really glad that man, somebody close to a journeyman that still loves it. Look, I've been doing this 40 years, almost just over now. No, probably right at 40, because I started the last half of 1980. So right at where I'm at. I still love it though. Jack's plumbing videos, shark bites are good for people who don't take pride in their work, or people that just don't care if it leaks or not. So yes, you're right. Simon Tremblay, capacity to adapt to new environment because every place is different. Man, that's a good one. Deontay Richardson, I took a welding and blueprint reading course a few years ago, became a certified welder, also took OSHA 10. Good for you. Dropped your certification off at the Union Hall last week. You think this will help? And any certs that you got will absolutely help. Yeah, man, that's cool. Jack's Plumbing, I'd rather do service work rather than new construction. And look, man, I've done it both. I've done all of it. And I got to tell you that there's benefits to both. You learn different things, but man, the things you learn are amazing. So pretty cool. I'm going to start going through questions a little quick. I know that we're starting to get down to the bottom half of the 5 o'clock hour, which is where I'm going to be easing out. Imre Yüksel, how are you? Good to have you in here. Since the union committee is making you wait in your car for social distancing, do you think it's a good idea to call ahead and ask the rules, like handshaking and masks? Absolutely. And I doubt that many people have done it because it's just now getting going. Imre, it is 5:16 at the bell. Ding. Ben Weaver, since the union, okay, sorry about that. The boss says, just passed my last few plumbing exams, sanitation, central heating, and hot water. Roger, you have motivated me to become a plumber. I went to the local union, dropped off my apprenticeship application, and was told to try again in a month or two due to COVID limitations. You know what, Charlie boy, I like that. Here's what I would tell you. Do try again in a month or two, but also call down in 2 or 3 weeks. Say, hey, look, came down a few weeks ago trying to apply. Weren't accepting applications. I'm really interested. Let them know your name. That way when you do come in, they'll be like, yes, we know who you are. DeBoz, is plumbing once you're qualified can be used internationally. So you want to work in the UK. I'm not going to tell you it's exactly the same, but look, I've worked with plumbers over here from South Africa. I've worked with plumbers over here from the UK. So look, at the end of the day, water runs downhill. It's got to drain properly. You've got to have the water line sized properly. There may be different materials like ABS versus PVC. PEX may be done different over there than over here. Uponor, things like that. But man, at the end of the day, yeah, it's all good. The balls got that one. With all those nice ball caps in the background, it leaves me thinking, do you sell merchandise? Handy Kelly, man, great question. It's something we have not done yet. We're working on it. And I actually had these made. I'll hold it up here, see if you can see that. I guess my autofocus, there it goes. We made these here a couple of years ago. And I'll even show you the back because that's my favorite part. So we had those made before going to a social media marketing conference. And it's funny because the director of the conference came up and my shirts, see, I don't turn around and show you all the back very often. Anyway, my shirts are the same. And it's been pretty cool because from that first marketing conference that I went to, literally the director of the conference came up to me and says, oh my gosh, he says, your shirts. And I thought he was going to give me crap. I said, yes, sir. He said, that is one of the most brilliant ideas I've ever seen. He said, I love that. He said, the thing is, next year, he said, there'll probably be 50 people here with him. And I got to tell you, I went this year, which was the next year. No, I guess that was 2 years ago. Anyway, it turned out really good, but it was neat. So yeah, there were a lot of them there though. Let's go. So yes, we have got to get serious about our merch. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I'm 17, live in the U.S., and entering your senior high school year. What are the best things that I can do to prepare for a future plumbing career? Octavian, man, I hope that I got that right. Man, that was a shot in the dark. Here's what I tell you. I've got the video. I was talking about it earlier. Welcome to plumbing school, introduction to plumbing, something like that. It'll help. It'll ask you some questions to find out what kind of plumber you want to be. Residential, commercial, construction, service, union, non-union. There's a lot of things to figure out. When I first got into plumbing, I had no idea what I was getting into, what the differences were, anything at all. So to me, and it's been really cool to be able to help people answer that question before they get started. And man, it's worked out good because I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, look, thanks to you, I've listened. I got in the union. I went open shop. I did the kind of plumbing that you recommended, and I love it. So it's a big deal. King Lawler says, Roger, do they sell water heaters that don't require an expansion tank, for example? They don't sell them with expansion tanks built in. What determines the expansion tank, the necessity of it, is if it's a closed loop system, meaning is there a backflow preventer of some sort installed so that when the water heats up, it has somewhere to go to. So if it's a closed system, you've got to have an expansion tank. Blaise Murray says, I'm 18 and my friends think it's weird that I use a flip phone, but your master plumber will never have a problem with you on your phone. You know what, man, if that's what it takes to keep you off your phone, I'm proud of you. That's pretty cool. Because I'm telling you, I had to let go of an apprentice one day because literally all that guy did all day at work was this. And I mean, my plumbers are like, man, he will not get off the phone. And man, almost let go of him once. He sat in my office, talked me into keeping him, and had to let him go a week later for the exact same thing. And some people just can't quit. So anyway, Samuel Slaughterback. You agree while PEX is great for easy install and money savings, it takes a hit on the flow performance. Yep. Samuel, look, man, I think you're spot on right. But I also think that if you oversize the system, when you design it and install it, you can avoid that problem. So are there ways around it? Yes, there are. But man, I looked up the question above. Grammar's fine. And your question fits. I completely get it. I completely agree with you. If you take a 3/4 copper line and you cut it and you replace it with 3/4 inch PEX and you put on the fittings, it definitely reduces it down. So yeah, you're spot on, man. L Dell 300C, what is the purpose of the pre-apprenticeship program and is it worth going for about 2 months with no pay, or just wing it and try to join the union? You know, man, I'd contact the union there in Cali and ask them what they think. I don't see any purpose of the pre-apprentice training. How much is it? Because I'm telling you, the mini course that we're putting together, not the mini course, but the plumbing course that we're putting together, I think would teach people what a pre-apprentice course would do. It's what tools you need, how to use a tape measure, how to make a solder joint, how to make a braze joint, how to make a glue joint. We've done threaded joints or getting ready to. There's a lot of things that we're teaching it that I think would be like even overboard for a pre-apprentice training, because we know that we're wanting to get into more advanced training. Our original plan was do the very basics, the mediocre, and then the advanced. And we've got 4 different levels. So, and we're taking it pretty serious. So that's why we quit doing it for a while, because we got so tied up and busy with YouTube and LinkedIn and other things that we were doing we didn't have time. So, if y'all aren't subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you know when it's going off or know what's happening. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, and jump over there and find me. It's Roger Wakefield, but jump in, visit, say hi. I try to go live over there on Tuesdays and Fridays. We've had a couple of problems. We can't figure out if it's with our software or if it's with LinkedIn or what. But man, look, we love going live over there twice a week. King Lawler says, you look like a Harley Davidson motorcycle owner. Your beard and mustache combo, I'll tell you what, and I got my little Harley box up there. I just got rid of a 2014 Street Glide. I've been looking at a couple of new CVOs. So, yes, I do ride, love to ride, thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's the greatest thing on earth. I've got a 2014 Jeep. I've been trying to figure out, is it time to get rid of it and get a truck? Or do I want to keep the Jeep and get a Harley? Or do I want to keep the Jeep and get a new truck and get a Harley? Not sure what I want to do. Before I had the Harley, though, I had a 2014 American Iron Horse Texas Chopper. One of the coolest bikes I've ever had. Love it. Roger, I've been constantly contacting my union about when they will resume with everything. I think it's good. I have been consistent with them, showing how interested I am. Deontay, I'm going to completely agree with you. What I will tell you is if you're able to work right now and you want to go get a job open shop and still keep applying in the union, at least you might be able to learn something or get out and do some things. It's always good to have any kind of an education you can get. And you know what? And look, I don't want to wish this on anybody, but you may not ever get in the union or get that interview. So my thought process is, look, maybe you get on somewhere else, and if it works out, it works. If not, at least you've already got a job and you're learning things. But I'd also be very picky about the companies that I went to work for. Also, over the last 3 months, when I contacted the union, whoever I spoke with, you always let them know you hope them and their families continue to stay safe. Absolutely. And, guys, here's the deal. If you will take time to let people know that you care, that you want to help, that you just want to check on them, you want to do different things. Andy Kelly, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love what I'm doing. I hope y'all love what you're doing. And I hope you jump in more often. Come visit, say hi, see how things are going. Man, I'm working on some new giveaways to do. We have almost got a sponsorship agreement in place, it looks like, that I think is going to be so killer. So, guys, I hope you all, King Lawler, thank you for subscribing, and I appreciate that. If y'all haven't done it, like I said, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you know when we're doing new videos. You know when we're going live, you can jump in and visit. It is almost 5:30, so it's about time for us to get off here. Blaise Murray says, how do raises work open shop? You start out at 11 an hour in DFW. You know what? In 11 an hour, I'm not going to say it's great, but starting out isn't bad. If it gets you in the door, gets you a job, and you can prove yourself, I would ask them, what are the raises like? Not me. Open shop. Here's my deal. I love the fact that the union has set raises, meaning, you get a cost of living raise every year. The apprentices get a percentage raise every year, meaning you start out at 50%. 6 months later, it's 50 more percent. 6 months later, not 50. 6 months later, it's 5 more percent. 6 months later, it's 5 more percent. And you keep going up 5% until you get to 85%, which is the last half, I believe, of your fourth year. And then when you graduate a year later, you get a full 15% raise, plus the cost of living raises along the way. So, and there's good things about it. Open shop's a little bit different. Sometimes it's, hey, look, you got to go in and beg for your raises. Or you've got to leave and go to work somewhere else and show them that you have more experience and things like that. So, man, there's a lot of benefits to both. And I talk about that in my mini course. Are you sure about what kind of plumber you want to be? Is it commercial? Is it residential? Is it new construction? Is it service? Is it union? Is it non-union? Is it industrial? And there's so many different opportunities out there. But you're the only one that can decide what kind of plumber you think you would like to be. Now, I can tell you all day, hey, I think this or I think that. And in that mini course, and guys, it's free. Go find out what kind of plumber you think you want to be. And if you already are a plumber, go check that out and see if maybe there's something better on the other side of the fence. Or if you're already a plumber, go check it out and see if you agree with me. Jump back in here next week and say, Roger, you don't know what you're talking about. And I don't mind people telling me that. But when I say, okay, what do you mean? Man, explain it to me and say, well, this is what I think. This is what I do. Never settle. Now, I was fixing to go on my rant and get out of here. Took your master's test last week and failed. Not the whole test, but a portion. You have to take the whole test again. What state are you in? Because in Texas, if you fail a portion, I think that you can take that portion again. I think there's 3 portions to the written and the practical. It's been a while. And I hate to hear that, but did you study the way that I showed a study? Do you have a master's study prep course like we do down here? If it's Texas, I'm really curious. Man, let me know. Just kind of asking. Blaze, I'm fixing to sign off myself. Okay, so never settles from Houston. Man, I would say get the UPC study guide, and I know that's crazy. I was talking about it earlier, but that is the one that, to me, man, I study it, and I think that's where a lot of the questions come from because I've always done well on the test. And I'm sorry that you didn't pass. And I'm glad you're in Houston, though. I'm always looking for plumbers across the state of Texas to refer people to. But, guys, it is 5:31. King Lawler, and somebody always goes to the Green Wrench. I have never taken the Green Wrench into a fight with me. Man, I used to be a bouncer and bodyguard, so I used to fight a lot. I try not to do that anymore, and I used to love it. But anyway, no, I don't take it into any fights with me. But, guys, I am fixing to sign off of here. I hope you got something out of that. I hope you come back. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that each one of y'all tell 4,000 of your closest friends to come back in and check it out too. Share it out. Tell people what you found. And, man, hopefully they can jump in and enjoy it. So anyway, hopefully I will see you back here next week. Check out my videos. Leave me comments. Tell me what you think. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the Expert Plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.